All right, hello. I'm Dawn Hawkins with Morality and Media and pornharms.com, and we are celebrating White Ribbon Against Pornography Week. It is the 27th annual National Rap Week, and Rap Week started with just one woman in Pennsylvania who wanted to do something to make a difference in her community. She specifically wanted to get a porn shop closed down. And so she dreamed up this whole vision and idea for Rap Week. And 27 years later, thousands of people around the country and many national and local organizations are still participating in Rap Week. It's just completely taken on a life of its own. And so as part of Rap Week this year, we wanted to help people, concerned citizens, parents, individuals feel empowered, just like the woman in Pennsylvania, to make a difference in your community. So I have brought together two women who I really admire and look up to talk about things that they've done and to help you, our supporters and our viewers, just realize that you can do something too. So first we have Judy, who's from Utah, and she did a lot of stuff to stop a major retail chain from selling pornographic t-shirts. It just is going to blow your mind. I don't want to tell you too much, so let me hand this over to her. But Judy, tell us, what did you do and why did you do it?
Hi, Dawn. Thanks for asking me. Well, I was just shopping in our local mall with my son. It was his 19th birthday, so we were going around to different shops in the mall looking for things for him. And we happened to be on our way to a different store and passed in front of the PacSun store. And there in their full window display was, it was like a clothesline with t-shirts hanging from it. And there were four t-shirts hanging up with spotlights on them, and they were of women in various stages of dress, very sexual images. Two of the t-shirts, the women only had something on the top but nothing on the bottom, and they were posed very seductively. And I was really shocked that they would put this just right there in that storefront window in the section of the mall that had Build-A-Bear and children's clothing stores. It was in that section of the mall, let alone the fact that it was even just being displayed at all. So I actually walked past, and then I thought, I can't let this go. So I went back, and I took a picture of it, and then I walked away so that I could kind of gain my composure and figure out what I wanted to say to the store manager. And I eventually walked back in and I talked to the manager and I told her how disturbed I was by the display and asked her what she thought of it and if she had asked the mall owners if it was okay. And then I basically said, I think this is something that's inappropriate to be in a mall, especially where there are families shopping with their children. Would you be willing to take it down? And she admitted that she was disturbed by the display itself, said that she had already called the corporate offices and refused to put up a banner that was supposed to go across the t-shirts as well. She said that was much worse than the t-shirts, but that she couldn't take them down because they were part of the corporate marketing event for that week. And so she said that she would let corporate know that someone had complained and thanked me for taking the time to come in. So it was a cordial conversation, but I left not having succeeded in anything. The display was still up. So I continued shopping with my son, and as we were about to leave, I just had this feeling that this was not okay. I'm walking away, and those images will be left for families and children and teenage boys who they were being marketed to see. So I went back, and I said, I'd like to buy the display. And I was told, yes, you could buy the display, but we have other t-shirts and we'll be required to replace them. So the display would continue unless I bought all the t-shirts. So I asked them what their return policy was, made sure that they were very clear on the fact that I didn't intend to keep these shirts, that my purpose was to get them out of the window and then to have a conversation with their corporate offices about it. And so I bought all the shirts in the store. It added up to just under $600, but it got them out of the shop. And then I contacted some friends and asked them if they'd contact PacSun. And I contacted a friend who works at our local newspaper and asked if she thought that it was worth putting in the paper that people ought to be contacting PacSun and the mall and letting them know of their concern. And nothing happened. This was Labor Day weekend, and I didn't hear back from her. And when I did hear back from the reporter, she says, well, it sounds like you took care of the issue. And I said, okay, you know, if you aren't interested in running the story, that's fine. I have my network of friends, and we'll you know, address it that way. And in about an hour, she came back to me and said, I think we do have a story. And 2 hours later, I was being interviewed by a local television station, and by the end of the day, it had gone national. So the story broke really big, and I was very shocked, very surprised. And that's not what I had intended. I just wanted to get those T-shirts out of the window. So
I know that as soon as I heard about what you did, I tried contacting you, but you were like so overwhelmed with everyone contacting you, lots of news people, that I wasn't able to connect. But we tried immediately to just help support your efforts, and I know that thousands of our supporters contacted PacSun too, just following your example.
I did get, I think I did get an email or something, Dawn, from you. But like you said, I was so busy. But when we did finally connect, I was so pleased that Morality and Media, I know you put up a link on your website so that people could contact PacSun.
It was so exciting to here in DC, just feeling that excitement swelling around the country around what you did.
It got an interesting conversation going. And it wasn't all positive. I'm echoing back, Dawn. I'm getting an echo when I talk.
Oh, you sound good to me. So
okay,
hopefully,
hopefully
it's working. I want to tell the viewers who are watching that you're welcome to ask questions. If you submit them through the Q&A, I will keep track, and then I can ask. I can read them to Judy and Malia or answer myself. But if you have any questions, let us know. But I just want to say, Judy, were you scared? Were you nervous?
I wasn't scared when I was in the store. I was a little nervous about how they would react to my request, and actually the manager had left. It was the assistant manager, and she wasn't quite as friendly as the manager was. She was a little more derisive of what I was trying to do, where the manager was very sympathetic to my concerns. I don't think I was ever really scared. It was just an issue of doing what I knew was right. I had to get those T-shirts out of the window because I felt so strongly that we shouldn't be marketing to teenage boys images of girls and various stages of undress and having it be an acceptable thing. And especially displaying them as if this is just something that's normal that you would find on an everyday clothesline. That was very upsetting.
Yeah, I've gone through that experience. Let me share a couple of somewhat similar scenarios that I have experienced and that I've heard from our supporters. But the very first time that I stood up and said something about the fact that pornography was everywhere, it was right after I started volunteering for pornharms.com, and I was in Barnes & Noble, and I was studying for the LSAT, and I looked over, took a break, and there were pornographic books, like on the second shelf, right next to where I was sitting, which was also next to the children's section. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like the covers were just straight nudity. And see, it was right at their eye level. So I went to the manager, and my adrenaline was pumping, so I wasn't scared or nervous to start, but he wanted nothing to do with what I was saying. He didn't want to listen. He was rude to me. He said there was nothing he could do. And I felt so belittled, and I felt bad. But I looked around, and I realized that 3 other women had stopped and were kind of listening. And then the 3 women, and all of them had children, came and stood next to me, and they started talking to the manager too. And the manager, of course, didn't change anything. I've been back to that same Barnes & Noble. It's all still there. But how wonderful it was to just be there and realize that I wasn't the only person that was feeling that way, and that all these other women who just happened to be in the store with me felt the same and were willing to stand next to me. So I mean, we're not all, but standing up for them. Let's see. Someone said maybe if you use earphones, it may help. Judy, do you have earphones?
I don't. And every once in a while you cut out, but it's okay. As long as it's working for everyone else, that's fine. I'm hearing you okay.
Okay. Another example, a friend of mine who I happen to know personally, she was troubled because at her doctor's office, her gynecologist, they had pornographic magazines in the bathroom. And it was because they also dealt with fertility issues. And her husband actually went and talked to the doctor at the practice and asked why they had these. And they only had one bathroom. So the children were accompanying the parents to the doctor's appointment. The children are using the same bathroom. And so her husband brought it to the attention of the doctor. And at first the doctor said, we need these. Men need porn to be able to provide semen samples, which is another discussion in and of itself. How sad is that they need pornography to do that? But after leaving, she got a call from the office manager of the clinic who explained that some of the other staff overheard her husband talking to the doctor. And so then in a staff meeting that evening, that afternoon, other staff spoke up and about how uncomfortable they found it as well, that they were providing pornography in the bathroom. And so the doctor decided to remove the pornography to a locked shelf, and you could only get it if you asked for permission. And so, I mean, their success, all it took was just speaking up, and it's kind of scary at first, but this happens, and it works. Malia, you have spoken up in I think, louder ways than just going to one person. Tell us what you did in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes. You sound great.
Great. Thank you. And first, I just wanted to say, Judy, that is amazing how that one act of bravery and obedience mushroomed like that. That's incredible. I'm really impressed with how that all came out. And so I'm a wife and a mother and a marriage and family therapist in Birmingham, and there were different events throughout my life where I would get upset by obscenity, and I probably would speak out to, like at bookstores and gas stations and things like that, but nothing to the extent of what happens until as a family therapist. I had photography for the last 15 years, and I grieved with a lot of adults and college students and teenagers, but in recent years, families started bringing in their children, very young children. I'm talking about 6 to 11 years old, boys and girls who were severely addicted to pornography. And I knew in the back of my head that happened, but I had never seen it firsthand. And I don't specialize in children, so it was a shock for me to see these children and to hear their stories, because these were coming from really good families, and they were children who were innocently exposed at a neighbor's house or a friend's house. And it had devastating effects after 1 or 2 exposures, because these children immediately started acting out oftentimes what they saw, because they didn't know how to compartmentalize what they had viewed, and it was traumatic, and that's the only way they knew how to cope with it. And so they would act out with playmates, they would act out with baby sister, baby brother. I'm talking about infant children. The parents would tell me these stories of walking in and finding these things, and at the same time they would talk about how it affected the child's development, how it changed their personality at times in some cases, and it made it hard for them to bond. And in fact, when I saw these children, some of them were very just detached, and it broke my heart. And so at the same time I was seeing this, I would turn on the television at night, and the regular talk shows and the sitcoms would talk about pornography like it was a legitimate form of entertainment. It's no big deal. They just minimized the effects of it. So it was just maddening to see what I was seeing in reality and to see how it was portrayed on television. It was like they were just saying, go ahead and drink poison, is what it felt like. So so I was just so upset by that in my heart. And one day I was just riding in the car, and that 80s song, Angel is a Centerfold, came on the radio. And I'll never forget, because it's a very catchy tune, it's horrible lyrics, and I just was incensed with anger, and I was just in pain and anger at the same time, and just felt overwhelming grief about the issue, and cried out, and I said, God, why have you given me this burden? It was very quickly that I heard these words, because you're going to do something with it. And that just came out of the blue, and I was like, in tears, I was like, what do you want me to do? I'll do whatever you want me to do. And suddenly I just saw billboards, 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 billboards. Like everywhere I looked, I just saw billboards, and I could not drive down the interstate without seeing slogans and pictures on billboards that would wake people up to the crisis at hand. So I said, okay, God, I will put a billboard up. I don't know how to do that. I don't have time, but I will find a way to put a billboard up. And so I started researching, and I wanted the billboard to have a website that would have resources for help, that would have facts about the issues, and that would have ways people could plug in to get help. To help with the issue, to fight the issue. So I was going to try to build my own website, which was in and of itself a monumental task for me. So I started researching, trying to pull the facts together, and I came across pornharms.com, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want. It's just on a national scale. I want it tailored down to Birmingham and the things that we have here, the resources and the issues that we have here. So I called Morality and Media and got connected to Dawn and Casey and Pat, and they were just incredibly supportive and helpful, and said, let us help you launch this. And really, they helped build a website. They helped with press releases and all these incredible things that I could not have done on my own, really, at all. And or at least I could have, but it would have been a lot more challenging. So that was wonderful. And so I wanted the billboard to be a very provocative picture that would, again, wake people up to the issue of pornography and its effects on lives, and how it's not only a form of human trafficking, but it fuels human trafficking. So the image that we had was a picture of a little girl with a price tag around the back of her neck, and the caption read, so how much for your daughter? And your was in italics. And the website at the bottom was www.pornharms.com/Bham, and Bham is the abbreviation for Birmingham. And I wanted to put it on Interstate 65, which runs through the center of downtown, but I kept feeling a very strong sense that I was supposed to put it on Interstate 20. At the time, I didn't understand why, but I picked a location on Interstate 20 that was one of the prime locations for a billboard to go, because it had really good visibility. It was right in front of downtown, and people would travel across state lines, around 400,000 views a day of that billboard. So it was a great spot. And I should say that when I sent out a letter to about 76 potential sponsors in December of 2012, and within 2 weeks we had $9,500, which was more, what we needed to not only create the billboard, but to raise it for 3.5 months. We ended up getting some special rates through the billboard company. They gave us some help since we were a nonprofit, which was excellent. And again, that was more than I'd hoped for. And so we put the billboard on I-20, and I came to find out that Interstate 20 is the human trafficking corridor in the United States. And in 2012 alone, 15,000 women and children were trafficked through Birmingham city limits. So that's why God wanted me to put it on Interstate 20. So when I put the billboard up, we had incredible media coverage of it, which was unexpected. I was prepared for backlash and was bracing myself for negative reactions. But in the radio programs, and then also written up in the newspaper. So that was really great, and I thought, okay, I'm done. But I wasn't done, because after we did that, several human trafficking leaders came out of the woodwork. I had no idea how many human trafficking nonprofits were based here in Birmingham until I put the billboard up. And they came out in support and said, we are behind this because we know that pornography fuels human trafficking. We know that it is a form of human trafficking, and we want to see it uprooted. So they were amazing. And as we got to know each other, one of the other leaders said, we need to do something collectively. We need to join forces, as a one voice to maximize our efforts. So they suggested we do an event in downtown Birmingham, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do all that, but then I couldn't let the idea go. And so last October, with the help of 2 very dedicated women and about 100 different volunteers, we had an event called Freedom Night, and it was a concert in downtown Birmingham in an area called Railroad Park. It's a nice new park right in the heart of downtown. And we had some national acts come out and perform. Sister Hazel came, and Steve Mokler, and we had Pat Truman came and spoke, and he also spoke at our law school while he was here, which was actually my favorite part of the whole deal. He was amazing. If you ever get to have him come speak at a law school, it's pretty remarkable information. And anyway, we had this big fun festival type event. We showcased 4 main nonprofits with video promos at the event, and then we had about a dozen total nonprofits that had booths and things like that throughout the whole event. We had vendors with selling food and all this great stuff, and a lot of them gave money back to the nonprofits, so or at least to our effort there. So that was a lot of fun, and again, we got good media coverage. The news came out and covered. We had two major news outlets cover the event, and prior to the event, all the news outlets covered it, and then several radio shows. So that was very exciting. And again, I could not have done that without. It really wasn't me alone by any stretch. But so then after that, I became more involved with the national movement and was educated about the different services and programs that are available, and I became interested in getting a group like Fight the New Drug into our schools, because I really would love to see this generation have a chance at innocence and healthy intimacy and relationships. And I'd love to see more billboards circulated throughout the state because it was so effective. And I should add to this that because the billboard here in Birmingham went up and was effective, people contacted you guys in D.C. and said, how can we do this in our city? And now I think the billboard's gone up in, I think, around 10 different cities, if I remember what Casey, when we counted them all up. It's gone up across the United States. Similar billboards have gone up, and it's just so cool to watch that continue to mushroom. So now what we're doing this fall, we're having a really fun little fundraiser called Shootout Injustice. It's a skeet shooting fundraiser at a hunting preserve here called Selwood Farms. And we have businesses and law firms and individuals who are sponsoring teams of 4 that are just going to come out for a fun day of music and food and competitive shooting and just a relaxed, fun day. Dawn's going to be able to speak at the event, and it's just going to be a great fundraiser to raise funds to get Fight the New Drug into hopefully a dozen schools, and also to raise more billboards. And if we have any left over, we've got a list of things we want to do with the money. But that's a current goal. And then one other piece that's been exciting, we have so many incredible individuals here that share the same heart, that want to see exploitation completely obliterated. And so we are slowly coming together to form the Alabama Coalition to End Sexual Exploitation, or Alabama CEASE, or ALACEASE. And it's been fun to get to know these people. I'm just blown away with their integrity here, and that'll be around the corner, hopefully. So I think that's everything. The thing I would say to other people, if you're like me and you have a burning passion in your heart, and you, just like Judy, you just feel like there's something stirred in you that says speak out, then speak out, because our voices are needed. And
uh-oh, she froze for me. Did she
have to be. Can you guys hear me?
I think I can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Sorry. But I think I had to.
Uh-oh, Malia, we are losing you. I'll just say, I mean, it's been incredible to see the doors opening. Really, Malia just called one day. She just was so set on the billboard, and it's been amazing to see the doors that have opened from that. And really, it's just like, I think that often we feel overwhelmed that we can't possibly organize a huge concert or get these groups to work together. But you'll see that often if you just be that first voice to stand up, that people will rally around you and they'll come together, and they're willing to help too. They're just waiting for one courageous person to just get started. And we saw that in Birmingham with all these groups and leaders coming to join Malia and then helping to make her efforts just magnified and they quadrupled. And so they continue to, amazing things continue to happen in Birmingham. The same thing happened in Utah. You know, Judy was that one kind of quiet voice at first, and now many groups are rallying around her. They're joining together. In Utah recently, many groups had a joint press conference, and I mean, it's just, it often takes the catalyst of one person to speak up. I want to tell you guys about one sweet little old woman in Minnesota, Ann Redding. She, for 20-plus years, she's been working to keep her community clean, and I can't even count or tell you all of the many victories that she's had, but she's gotten she's in a small town in Minnesota, and she's gotten the couple of hotels that are in her town to get rid of pornography completely in the hotels. There's like a little city newspaper that comes out, and there happens to be a strip club or a sexually oriented business in her town that runs ads in the local newspaper. So Judy has gotten like 30 of her friends together, and whenever a new company runs ads in the newspaper, they send a couple of letters to the new company telling them that they're helping to sponsor this, they're helping to promote this sexually oriented business by giving their business to the newspaper. Almost every single time, almost every time, the new companies pull their ad. It's just incredible. And all she does is write letters and make a couple of calls, and she's just tirelessly able to hold the line in her community and keep it a decent society. And there's so much that you can do in your local area.
Dawn, I think the thing that was most impressive to me was how it got the conversation going. My act was very simple and obviously doesn't even compare to what Malia's been able to do and continue to do from that one action that she did. I think the thing that is something that's common to everything that we're talking about here is that it gets people having a discussion. And even though, yes, some of it can be negative, I received some pretty pornographic phone calls. I received some real negative backlash because of it, and that's very sad. But I think the most impressive thing to me was that not just in the United States, but I was getting phone calls for media interviews from Australia as well. And it was hitting blogs in India and in France and in Italy. And it was a very simple act, but I think every time that one person stands up and makes a difference, does one thing, whether it continues to blossom as Malia's has, or just a simple act like my just buying some t-shirts and returning them, by the way. I didn't keep them, I did return them. But it gets that conversation going, and it gets people having discussions about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And it emboldens people to feel that they can do something as simple as making that phone call or writing that letter, or you know, we don't have to put up billboards and we don't have to buy $600 worth of t-shirts. But we do need to speak up and say something and let our voices be heard. And that's what was most impressive about what happened for me, is that I saw that happening with other people, feeling empowered to go ahead and call them all, and call PacSun, and click on Morality and Media's website and just send a little email. And that's a very powerful chain reaction that happens.
Most definitely. I was a friend with another family, and they have 2 young kids, and I have a 1-year-old son, but we were bowling, and I noticed that the like 4 lanes next to me had young kids at the lanes too. But it was late, it was like 10 p.m., and the bowling alley changed at 10. These really sexual music videos like Beyonce and Miley Cyrus. I mean, it was like soft porn, or maybe just porn, on these huge screens at the end of the lane. And I was thinking I should go say something, but I always say things, and my husband was like, Dawn, let's just have fun tonight. But I noticed that the mother of the family who we were with, she went up to the counter, and she explained to them that there were all these little kids in the bowling alley, and that this was just really inappropriate. And the manager, she told me, said, well, you know, we're not catering to kids because it's 10 p.m. Now it's time for adults. And she pointed out, well, there's still a lot of kids in your facility. And he turned it off. And, I mean, as much as that, he turned it off, and it didn't turn into this huge discussion. Nobody else probably at the bowling alley even thought about it or realized. But it just took going and getting that conversation started.
Dawn, you know what's interesting to me, though, is that we feel that we have to, it's a good thing that we're protecting our children, but I think we forget that we can stand up for ourselves and say, I'm uncomfortable with this. I am not all right with Beyonce and all of these other things when I've come and patronized your business. The assumption is that 10 o'clock hour hits and that everyone in that building is all going to be comfortable with pornographic videos, and it's not. I attended a bowling alley when I was in New York City, and we don't have bowling alleys that do the videos at the end here. So that was the first time that I had seen it, and I was bothered by the fact that they just assume that everybody in their facility wants to see that type of thing. So it's great to stand up for our children, but I think we also have to stand up for ourselves and for women in general, because those are generally the ones, I mean, we're not seeing videos being played that are pornographic in nature about men. It's all about women, and they're exploiting women, and I think as women and men, we need to stand up for that as well.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Thank you. I just want to reiterate, if anyone has a question, they're welcome to submit it through the Q&A. We have one from Tiffany who says, how can I find out if billboards have gone up in Dallas, and what's going on in Dallas, Texas? And Tiffany, I don't have answers for every single city, but I do know that we do not have any billboards up in Dallas. But that there is a small coalition that has recently formed in Dallas. They just had a conference like 2 weeks ago, and it's just some individual leaders there in Dallas, concerned individuals, not with organizations, who are getting things going. So if you could email me at pornharms.com, I can connect you with the Dallas folks, because I think incredible things are going to be coming down the pipe in Texas. And likewise, there's a lot happening in San Antonio and Houston, and it looks like there's a statewide Texas coalition that is forming. So that doesn't happen in every state, but it's happening around the country. So if you're interested in your areas, feel free to contact me, and it's likely that I know something happening near you. I just want to say, too, it's scary sometimes to be vocal and to go tell someone face-to-face, but there's a lot you can do not face-to-face. We have pornharmsaction.com, where we've got more than 70 action items that you can take from your home, writing letters, sending emails, signing petitions, making calls, sending tweets even, where you can help us win a couple of different campaigns. For example, we got Groupon to stop offering pornographic ads. We got Google to get rid of pornographic apps in Google Play and ads in their AdWords. I mean, we've had a lot of success on a national level because so many people have been willing to sign petitions and to send emails and letters. And so you can definitely do that, and we need help. Tiffany, I don't know. She asked what's the name of the conference in Dallas. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember, but I have the information in an email. So, Malia, do you have anything else that you'd like to say? You're on mute, though.
How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I keep losing connection. But I was just going to add in there earlier, I think we do have such an influence, even with the little things we do, like you guys talked about at the bowling alley. The last few weeks, whenever I have been in Target or Walmart and they have the new Cosmo magazine that's out, I've noticed that other moms have turned the magazine around because no one wants to see what's on the cover. It's really graphic, and so every chance I've had, I've gone and asked the management, and I've just taken the magazine and said, can we do something about this? It's so uncomfortable when you have children, and because it is such a graphic image, the managers are like, oh, wow, yeah, I guess we should see if we can cover that. Because Publix grocery stores here they have these screens that they can put over magazines, so I've been requesting that at Target and Walmart and different places, and some of the people have been like, yeah, I'm really gonna invest in this and try to get this so that it's safe for families to come in. But anyway, I was just gonna add in another example, but I think we have more influence than we give ourselves credit for.
Oh, we most definitely do. I feel really excited just to be talking to both of you. This is hard work sometimes, and we often feel overwhelmed and like there's nothing that we can possibly do, but that's not true. There's so much we can do and a lot of success that we can have, and chances are that many others around us are feeling the same way.
Absolutely.
That we are.
Dawn,
Well,
I think for me it's been a real blessing because I've been able to hook up with Women for Decency here in the state. And also I'm now on the advisory board for the Utah Coalition Against Pornography. So I think if people just look in their own states, look in their own communities, there are generally organizations out there that they can get involved with. And sometimes we think, oh no, I don't want to join an organization because they'll ask me to do too much. And that's not true. Just even simple things that you can do to help. If it's passing out flyers or making people aware on your Facebook page of events that these organizations are holding, simple things that each person can do to help promote awareness about the issues. And I just think it's important to look outside of your own home, look for these organizations that can really help because they're there. And I've been really blessed to meet some women that have been, and men, that have been very proactive. Malia mentioned the magazines, turning them around. We have a woman in our organization, Women for Decency, that worked very hard within our state to get their blue plastic shields that go in those racks for the magazines in different grocery stores. And that's been a blessing. I was one of those moms that would turn around for years I would turn around those magazines. And now there are a number of stores that have shields over those. So it's just simple things, but getting connected with other organizations so that you can participate in their activities and promote their activities is really important.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you. I think we have to end now. Jeremy asked, do I know if anything's going on in Kansas City? And there's a lot going on in Kansas City, Jeremy. If you can contact me, there's like an interfaith group there that's really doing a lot of things. So Tiffany, Jeremy, anybody else who's watching who wants to see if there's something in your community, email me at mim@moralityinmedia.org, and I'll try to connect you very soon to the groups that we know of in those areas. But just like Judy said, there likely is someone in your area doing something, and we know a lot of groups, so we'll try to connect you. And if there's not, you can easily do something on your own, and you'll see doors opening, people coming to join you. So again, go to pornharmsaction.com for a list of different advocacy campaigns you can participate in from home. And Judy, Malia, do you have anything else to say before we end? I'd like to end on your beautiful faces instead of mine.
I'd just like to thank you, Dawn, for all that you do. It's been a great privilege for me to get to know you and just be involved in this really important issue. And thank you for inviting me. Thank
you.
Same here. I just wanted to say thank you to. Oops, I'm losing you. Did I lose you?
No.
I wanted to just say it's been an exciting adventure, and I'm glad I stepped out to do this with you guys.
You both are so brave. Thank you for being examples to so many people.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.